This is the plaintiff, Bruce Downer. He says the defendant is his now estranged son, and he owes him money for a car he co-signed for him and lease payments he failed to make. Suing your own flesh and blood in court is difficult for him, but his son has done him very wrong, and he needs the judge and this court to teach him a valuable lesson about responsibility and morals. He's suing for $3,174.98, the amount he's most definitely owed. This is the defendant, Tyler Downer. He says his father's the one who did him wrong, and all the trouble began when he moved back in with his mom. He most certainly doesn't owe his father any money for this car because his father bought it, and he owns it, and he has it. The plaintiff thinks he can get away with being a bully, but he knows the judge doesn't like bullies, and he thinks he's going to walk out of here winning this case. He's accused of fouling up with his father.
All parties, please take your rating. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Bruce Downer?
Yes.
You are suing Tyler Downer, your son, for $3,174.98 that you say you're out as a result of him not fulfilling his obligations on a car that you co-signed for him, correct?
Correct.
Who is this, Mom?
Mom.
Okay. So, Mr. Downer, let's start with you. What happened?
Back in June of 2016, my son said he would like to get a new car. And at the time, I told him that he would have to pay for the car himself and continue to pay his insurance.
And how old are you?
21.
Okay.
And which he's always paid his insurance for his vehicles. So he went researching and found a 2016 Nissan Sentra at a local dealership that he wanted to lease. And when he went down to lease the car, I told him he had to get his own insurance because he can't have beyond my policy, which was my wife and my policy at the time, because the car wouldn't be registered to us, it'd be registered to him. So he said he did research and could not find affordable insurance. So therefore, he needed to be on my insurance policy. I then told him that in order for him to do that, I would have to be a co-signer on the vehicle, which I didn't really want to do, but he said he wanted the vehicle and he promised to make all the payments. So at that point, I went down to the dealership with him.
When you say you didn't want to do it, why not?
Because we're trying to, let's see, at that point in June, I was preparing to file for divorce, so I didn't want any other credit or anything going on.
Did you know it, but your wife didn't know it?
Correct.
And your son didn't know it?
Correct. I filed, yes, I'm the one who filed for the divorce.
And what was the reason for the divorce, just generally?
Just general marital breakdown.
Okay. So you didn't want to put it in your name, but you went ahead and put, I mean, you're not divorcing your son, right?
No, but
okay, so you went ahead and put it in, you co-signed for the car.
Correct.
He's on your insurance. Things go fine until they don't. When do they stop going fine?
In November, December timeframe.
Okay, and when did you file for divorce?
The end of 2016.
So just about the time you filed for divorce?
Yeah.
How long had you been married?
22 years.
So according to you, he didn't take it well?
No.
Okay. So then what happens?
Tyler had called the dealership and asked them how can he get, my name off the registration and his, and they said all you have to do is go to the DMV and change it. So
yeah, but if they do, they can do that and the loan still be in your name?
Yes, the lease would still be both of us, but the car would be registered in his name, and at that point
why didn't that happen from the beginning? Because you wanted security?
No, I didn't want my name on there at all. I was only co-signing so that my name would appear on the paperwork. So why,
when it was originally registered, was it registered in both your names?
The dealership only registered it in my name. They were supposed to register it in his name.
Well, didn't you notice it? Because you don't have the same name.
Yes, as soon as we got the paperwork in from the dealership and then we saw the registration was in my name, my son called them and said, look, this isn't supposed to be my father's name at all. It's supposed to all be in my name.
Right.
And they said, oh, it doesn't make a difference. It's because your father had a better insurance score than you. So therefore, we registered it in his name, but it doesn't make a difference.
All right, well, now, in any event, what happens is at some point he stops paying?
Yes.
What does he stop paying? The car?
He stopped paying. The insurance was paid up until March 1st of 2017. So he stopped paying for the car in February of 2017.
What did he say?
He just brought the car to my house and said, here, this car is yours, you own it.
Well, before that, though, you contact him and you tell him the insurance is going to be due in March. And what does he say to you?
I told him that he either needed to re-register the car in his name, in which case then he could get his own insurance policy, which he had told me he already had in place, effective December 25th of 2016. And then I would remove him from my policy, and I would give him the refund for that time frame until March 1st, the date that he actually re-registered the car. The second choice was to pay the insurance, and I needed the full payment by March 1st because that's when the payment was due, and I always pay the policies up front to save money. And the third choice was if he didn't want to do either of those, I wasn't working at the time, so I couldn't afford to pay his insurance as well, that I was going to have to suspend the coverage on the vehicle except for comprehensive, and because I didn't trust that he wouldn't drive the car, I would come and get it and store it in my garage until the time that he could pay for the insurance, and then we'd reinstate the policy for his car.
And so he apparently took option 3 and handed you the car.
He actually, yeah, he brought it back.
He dumped the car.
He dumped the car.
He didn't say, yeah, I'll have the money in 3 weeks and I'll pick up the car. He dumped the car.
Correct.
All right. How did you know he was dumping the car?
Because he came to my house, put the keys down the kitchen table and said, the car is yours. I can't afford it anymore.
Okay. Now, what did you do after that? You got another car?
Well, I left the car there because I couldn't afford the insurance payment because he wanted all $1,200 cash in full as of March 1st. He let me know about two and a half weeks beforehand. And
How had you been paying the insurance up to that point?
So I'm in college now, and so I take loans out. And so what I had done was my parents would pay in full, and then when my refund check from the loan came in, they would take the money out from there.
Okay. So, all right, go on.
But the $1,200 he wanted by March 1st, he let me know two and a half weeks in advance. And I had told him at the time, I said, I'm a full-time college student with a part-time job. I said, I don't have all that, the $1,200. And he had told me, well, you know that the insurance was due, but the 6 months beforehand, the insurance had been cheaper than that. So I had some of the cash to give him, but not the full amount because my mother had been removed.
Did you tell him that?
I did. I told him that on the phone.
So you call him telling you that at all? That he could pay part of it, just not the whole thing?
No, he never said he could pay part. He just said he didn't have the money. And I said,
Did he say he had part of the money?
No, he did not.
Go on.
And so he wanted the $1,200 in cash in full by March 1st. Otherwise, he threatened to take the car away from me. So my option was I took the car, I brought it to his house, gave him the car, the keys. I said, I can't afford the lump sum full amount that you want. But I had a credit card at the time, so I went to the dealership and I took a down payment on the vehicle that I have now, and I put it on the credit card because he wouldn't accept anything but cash for the insurance payment. And I leased a new vehicle because that was the only way I was going to be able to afford to have a car.
Who helped you with that lease?
My mother.
Step
A week
up, Mom.
prior to when he dropped the vehicle off at my house.
Come on up, Mom. What day did you folks sign a new lease? Was it before dumping the vehicle?
It was about 1 week before Tyler brought the vehicle to him, yes.
What did you end up doing with the car that he dumped at your house?
I held on to it for a few weeks trying to figure out what I could do and how, what my legal recourses were. And then eventually in the beginning of March, I went to a GMC dealer and worked out a deal for the vehicle I owned to be traded in. And I said, I need to get rid of his car, the 2016 Nissan Sentra. And they agreed to finally take it. But in order for me to get the lease taken care of, I had to pay that car outright, which was over $15,000. And then the money so they offered me $13,000 for it. So the difference is what part of the lawsuit.
Guys, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, look, I'm sure you never expected your father to sue you, or did you?
No, I didn't know.
Did you have a good relationship with him before this?
Not really. I didn't ever want to be at home because of the way he always treated me.
How did he treat you?
Kind of like a slave, because every single time, if I had friends over, immediately had to stop what I was doing just to empty the dishwasher, or do this just to do that, or...
Did you always have friends over? Because that's what I find my children do.
Yeah.
That way we don't have to do any work
a lot of times. But then there were times where, I'd get up in the morning and he'd say, oh, pull out the pan, and I'd pull out a pan. Make me eggs. I'd make him some eggs. Bring him the plate at the couch because he couldn't get up to come get it from the kitchen. Then take the plate back to the kitchen, and then do the dishes. So
well, that's why we have kids.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. Would you ever sue your own kid to teach him a lesson?
No, I would not. I feel there's a lot of other things you could do than sue your own child.
What if it doesn't work? What if they are disrespect you, say they don't pay you back a loan, and just they don't want to?
You know what? There's got to be some other way than I go legal against your own kid.
To go legal against your own kid?
That means.
What do you say?
It's too cold-blooded. There's got to be a way to do it with.
They're cold-blooded if they disrespect you and they don't, let's say they don't pay you the money they owe you.
No, you got to help them mature. You got to teach them.
Well, can you teach them by suing? What do you say?
I don't know about that, but how much money are we talking about here?
That is one cute dog. That dog is chill, man. That dog is chill.
Yeah, he's a super dog.
Okay, going inside the courtroom.
I mean, spiritually, did you have a relationship with him? I mean, would you talk? Did you felt like he loved you? Did you love him?
No, and there are times, where he had told other members in my family, I don't love him. He had said he didn't love me.
Why? Why would he tell other members in the family that?
He told that to my brother, and then my brother told me, he doesn't love you.
And well, that's just like a weird thing to say and repeat from your brother's standpoint too.
And I don't understand why he always treated me the way he did.
Does he treat your other? Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have one brother,
and
older.
Does he treat your brother differently?
Like a god.
Is your brother older or younger?
Yeah, older.
Would you have sued that brother?
Yes.
What's your relationship like with him?
With Tyler, it is estranged.
Why?
He has always been more favored by his mother, and so he takes his mother's side a lot.
Are you concerned that you're suing your son and that could affect your future relationship with your son?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I will leave that in your capable hands. In the meantime, I have to make a decision about what I'm going to do about the lawsuit. How was insurance paid throughout that time?
His mother paid the 6 months.
You guys would pay it up front and then he would pay monthly?
Yes.
What should I do about the fact that there was a certain rhythm to the agreement where he would have to pay monthly and then all of a sudden you change the agreement on him? How does that factor in here? Because that's part of the reason that your contract with him about how this car would go broke down. I think two things happened here. I think that you just dumped the car on him because you could, because mom was co-signing another lease and you could care less at that point. But I also think that you were changing the rules on him. And why you did that is because of the divorce. And I think you were changing the rules on him also because of the divorce, because of all of the animosity that you folks have towards each other. So you all of a sudden, you know what, pay it up front, or else. Okay, well, or else. That's what ended up happening. So I believe that there is $3,000 some odd of a loss in this contract of the two of you, but I'm going to kind of call it a split and say it's each of your faults. And so I'm going to order you to pay the plaintiff $1,587.49, which is half of the loss, because I do believe that it was unfair to all of a sudden tell you pony up $1,000 that you weren't expecting, had never expected, had never been part of the deal, and had never been part of the deal since you got your license. That's my verdict. Good luck, folks.
Well, quite an education here in what sounds like a family disintegration right in front of our eyes here. You're going to have to give him half of it, what he was seeking. How do you feel about that?
It's a loss I'll have to take. I don't think he deserves it, but, I mean, if that's what she ruled, that's what she ruled.
What do you see for the future of your relationship with your father? Anything? I mean, doesn't sound very promising right there.
Very slight.
Well, look, I'm sorry to see this situation. I mean, we all are. And I think everybody learned a lot from what the judge was telling you. It's a great lesson for everybody. All right, thank you. Sorry, you're going to have to pony up half of the loss. Here comes Bruce, Mr. Downer. What do you think about all this? Nobody comes off looking very good in this situation,
No, and it's a shame. It's a lesson that we're trying to teach Tyler, that I'm trying to teach him, that you have to stick to your commitments.
Do you think it worked?
No, it didn't.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry it all ended up in court. That's a real tragic situation, Harvey. What do you think?
Doug, it's interesting. The judge is really saying that the rhythm of the payment plan becomes binding on them in terms of what is expected of both parties, even though that wasn't specifically mentioned in the contract.